Yes. Now I'm able to record.
Okay, cool. So we'll start. I'll just share my screen. Uh, okay, so background. I'm on railway station going to Begumpet Narsimha. Sorry, I'm on Begumpet railway station. I'm going to Bidar Narsimha. So some background noise will be there.
Okay,
Okay.
your Bongir. Okay, your train is somewhere between Secunderabad and this Bongir station.
Yes, exactly. So it will start
You have
at
taken leave.
9:40. It will come at 9:40. I'll apply for leave tomorrow. Sick leave.
Okay.
Acha, acha.
Leave. You're not sick, right? Okay.
Yeah, I can get sick.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let us start.
Yeah.
Is screen visible?
Yeah,
Yes.
your screen is visible.
Okay, we can decide. Sanichayana
Your
Actually,
this
Prabhu
screen
sir.
is only visible. Your this thing train
Yes.
booking app is only visible, not the
Yes.
Bhagavad app.
Now?
Yeah.
Now it's visible.
Yeah.
Okay. You can reset behind you. Sanichayena yoktadyo
Na nischayena
Uh,
yoktatyo
yoga nirvina chetasa
yogo nirvinna chetasa
sankalpa prabhavan kamas
kalpa
kamams
prabhavan kamams
yastva sarvan asheshata
tva sarvan asheshata
मनसैवेन्द्रियाग्रामं
devendriyagramam
विनियम्य समन्ततः
niyamya samantatha.
Yes, you can read Ajit below.
Yeah. One should engage oneself with the practice of yoga, determination, and faith, and should not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. He should execute the practice, right? Okay. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, Utsahan nischaya dhairyat tattat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vitte sadbir bhakti prasidhyati. One can execute the process of Bhakti Yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duties, the association of devotees, and by engaging completely in activities of goodness. As for determination, one should follow the example of the sparrow who lost her eggs in the waves of the ocean. A sparrow laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the eggs on its waves. The sparrow became very upset and asked the ocean to return her eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal. So the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean, began to pick out the water in her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for her impossible determination. The news of her activity spread, and at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, heard it. He became compassionate towards his small sister bird, and so he came to see the sparrow. Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus, Garuda at once asked the ocean to return her eggs, lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened at this and returned the eggs. Thus, the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga and Krishna consciousness, may appear to be a very difficult job, but if one follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help. For Lord helps those who help themselves. So in the process
You
of
can
Bhakti
summarize.
Yoga, one should abandon without exceptions all material desires, and so one should be determined to do all this even in spite of the distractions from the external material world. So one should be like the sparrow which has determination to get her eggs in spite of the big ocean taking it away.
Yeah, exactly. So determination means following one path rigidly.
Yeah.
And whatsoever is the condition, even if you are having some issue, unless it is very serious, one should follow the right path. Even if temptations are there, even if someone is calling at the time when we are doing our stuff. So it takes determination to follow the right path. But to follow the
Okay.
wrong path, it just goes as the flow goes, because it takes some strength to swim to the opposite direction of the current in the river. But for one who has to flow with the current, it is very easy. That is the same case with the determination. And one who is determined on the practice of yoga, so Krishna affirms that. What Krishna affirms?
Yeah.
What is the thing which Krishna affirms when one is determined on the practice, on the path of yoga?
Hmm. Yeah, there should be determination.
But what after determination? Krishna will tell me. Just
Yeah,
like the sparrow.
it's not clear actually. Okay.
Now am I audible clearly?
Yeah, you're audible clearly.
Okay, I don't know. Some fluctuation will be there in it. So the way Garuda helped the sparrow, in the same way Krishna will help us.
Okay.
It is the practice of yoga.
Okay.
I'm getting a call again. Of Updeshamrit by Rupa perseverance, and dhairya, pravartan. By following these three things, one executes the karma. That karma is itself called as bhakti yoga. Sanga tyagat sato vritte sadvir bhakti prasidyati. Sanga tyagat sato vritti. So we have to associate with the like-minded people, associate with devotees. Just leave association of uh, the people who are affected by lust, anger, and greed, or say they are who are too affected by lust and greed, because everyone is affected. So bad association we have to neglect. So asat sangatyag, and we have to take good association. This is what is this six things Chadbir Bhakti Prasidyati. So these six things, those who follow, then one becomes successful in the path of Bhakti Yoga. Okay.
Yeah.
So in this verse, highlighting more about determination and faith.
Yeah.
The Bluetooth got disconnected, I guess. Okay, we'll go with the next verse then.
Mhm.
Anishanir uparamer
Anaisana
शनैः शानैरुपरामेत्
buddhya dhriti grihitaya
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया
atmasamstam mana kritva
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयेत्.
न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयेत्.
Yes, fully true, you can read.
Translation. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahar, the mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation from the senses. Should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in the material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matter as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
So, in this verse,
You can say.
Krishna is telling, like, this chapter is about the Dhyan Yoga process, right? So, gradually, one should take proper guidance and with proper conviction, he should indulge himself in Krishna consciousness and till this body dies in this material world, he should not indulge in any material sense gratification.
Exactly. So in the last verse we saw, Krishna said, we need determination and faith. And in this verse, Krishna is saying that what we need conviction. And that conviction comes up by knowledge. So knowledge is the first step in spiritual life. That's why we are reading, whatever shastras we read, whatever lectures we hear. So that is just to cultivate knowledge. So once knowledge is cultivated, faith is cultivated. By faith comes conviction. And when one is determined, that conviction gives results. So these things are very easily available in Krishna consciousness as Prabhupada explained. And we can also see in our real life also. Just like when we are in association, controlling senses, controlling mind, controlling our thoughts, all those things gets very easy. Whereas when one is alone, then it is very difficult to control one's senses, one's mind, because there is no one to watch, no one to scold, no one to see. So when one is alone, as soon as the mind gives command, one is unable to control it, and the senses go with the flow. Sorry. Right? So to the next verse. Okay. Yato yato nichalati.
तो यतो निश्चलति
Manas chanchalam astiram.
मानश्चञ्चलम् अस्थिरम्
Tatastato niyam yaitad
ततस्ततो नियम्यैतात्
atmani eva vasham nayed.
आत्मनि एव वसं नयेत्.
Okay, I'll read. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of self. Purport. The nature of mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami. And one who is controlled by the mind is called Godas or servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesha or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. This is the way of bringing senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. So here Krishna is saying that because we have tendency that whenever we are following on the right path, so if one is meditating or one is chanting, focusing on some point, studying. So usually mind gives some different demands. So it gives various options and it gets distracted. So Krishna is saying that wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and nature, because it's the nature of mind to flicker and it's unsteady in nature, then one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of self. So Krishna is saying that when and wherever the mind wanders, bring it back under the control. So it is not that the mind cannot wander. Mind has the tendency by nature it will wander, but our control should be on mind. So then only one is called Goswami. When mind is controlling us, if mind says just go and chill out, have a beer, have a cigarette, so all those things are demands of mind. When one starts satisfying those demands, then one is Godas, servant of senses. And when it's Goswami, then slowly Goswami serves the senses of the Supreme, and the senses of Supreme is called Rishikesha. So Krishna's another name is Rishikesha, the supreme owner of senses. We have to satisfy the senses of Rishikesha, not satisfy the senses of us. It should be Astiram. Stiram means steady. Astiram means unsteady. Chanchalam. One more word will come. Chanchalam is Krishna, Pramati, a niyama regulating. All right. So let's move to the next verse. You can recite behind me. Prashantamanasam yenam
Prashantamanasam hyenam
yoginam sukham uttamam
yoginam sukham uttamam
upaiti santa rajasam
upaiti shantarajasam
brahmabhutam akalmasam.
brahmabhutam akalmasham.
Yes, you can read.
Translation: the yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Purport: Brahmabhut is a state of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad bhaktim labate param. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai manaha Krishna padar vindayoho. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. So here in this verse, the situation of the yogi whose mind is fixed on the Lord is displayed because he realizes his natural position, constitutional position, that he is the eternal servitor of the eternal master, Krishna. So he becomes free from all the material contamination, all the reaction of his past deeds. Because he is he himself engaged in loving transcendental service of the Lord. So he is in the Brahmabhuta stage, that is out of free from material contamination. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. So when Krishna is saying that yogi who fix mind on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental. So me means he is not saying some Brahman or some living entity within Krishna. So Krishna's body is spiritual in this chapter. So me means he's saying on Krishna himself. So that is what is the conclusion of this whatever we are reading till now, this sixth chapter. Krishna saying that focus your mind on me, then one attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness, which is all we all are seeking for that happiness. That happiness can be achieved by this process. Your phone is also low battery. Uh, okay, we'll start with next verse. Yunjamevam sadatmanam
युञ्जनेवं तदात्मानं
yogi vigata kalmasa.
योगी विगता कल्मषा
Sukena brahma samsparsham
केन ब्रह्म संपर्शम्
atyantam sukhe ashnute.
अत्यन्तं सुखमश्नुते. Yeah. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relationship to the Supreme. The individual soul is a part and parcel of the Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samparsa.
Yeah.
A self-controlled yogi eventually attains the highest stage of perfection because he is engaged in loving service to the Lord, and he realizes his constitutional position in relationship with the Lord.
Yeah, so one's constitutional position is that one is Krishna Swarup hoy, Nitya Krishna Das. Sorry, Jiva Swarup hoy, Nitya Krishna Das. So Jiva's eternal Swarupa is Nitya means eternal, Krishna Das, servant of Krishna. That is our constitutional position.
Okay.
This transcendental contact with Supreme is called Brahma Samsparsha. Okay, so we'll read next verse also. You can recite Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam.
Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam.
Sarva Bhutani Chatmani.
Sarva Bhutani Chatmani.
Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma.
Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma.
Sarvatra Samadarshana.
Sarvatra Samadarshana.
Okay, I'll read. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the Supreme Lord, everywhere. Perfect. A Krishna conscious yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as Super Soul, Paramatma. Just 1 second. It is not my turn, I guess. Yes. Okay, we will continue. Perfect. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Riddeshe Deshe Arjuna. Riddeteshe Arjuna Tishtati. The Lord in his Paramatma feature is situated within both the heart of the dog and the heart and that of the Brahmana. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence in either a dog or a Brahmana. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is also situated in the individual heart, but he is not present in all hearts. That is the distinction between individual soul and the super soul. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in the heart of both believer and the non-believer. In the Smriti, this is confirmed as follows. Atat tat vacha marti Tva cha atmahi paramo hari. The Lord, being the source of all beings, is like the mother and the maintainer. Where was I? As the mother is neutral to all kinds of children, the Supreme Father or Mother is also, consequently, the Super Soul is always in every living being. Outwardly, also, every living being is situated in energy of the Lord, as will be explained in the 7th chapter. The Lord has primarily two energies, spiritual or superior, and material or inferior. The living entity, although part of the superior energy, is conditioned by the inferior energy. The living entity is always in the Lord's energy. Every living entity is situated in Him in one way or another. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, although in different situations according to the results of fruity works, in all circumstances remains the servant of God. While in material energy, the living entity serves. While in material, while the living entity serves the material senses, and while in spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is the servant of God. The vision of equality is perfect in person in Krishna consciousness. So the translation says that yogi observes me in all beings. So this is called as Paramatma realization, and this Paramatma realization is being explained here by Prabhupada. Because Lord sits in everyone's heart as super soul, and that super soul in Sanskrit we call as Paramatma. We are soul, and He is in everyone's heart, every living entity. Either it can be dog, hog, tree, bird, reptile, animal, or human. But the living entity has is situated in his individual hearts, so he's limited to his own body, whereas Lord is not limited. So in that sense, one can say that the soul and the super soul are distinct. The soul is limited to body, but the super soul is not limited. But though both have same qualities, both have presence over something, and the Brahmana sees both of them in equal vision. All right, so outwardly, every living being is situated. So these things will be explained that how superior energy and inferior energy are there. So there are two kinds of energy, superior or inferior. The Sanskrit terms are Jada and Chetana. Jada means this matter, Chetana means spiritual. And yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, although in different situations according to results of fruity works, in all circumstances remains the servant of Lord. So a yogi sees that every living entity is ultimately servant of Lord, but now due to his karma, due to his actions of results, he is in under certain situation. Maybe he is poor, he is very rich, he is very famous. He can have any of the six opulence, or he cannot possess any of the opulence, or whatever the state of the living entity may be, if not human body, any sort of body. But he sees that all the souls are ultimately servants of Lord. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, nothing, Ajinkya.
Okay, okay, the meeting will end in 10 minutes, I guess. 10 minutes means another 3-4 minutes.
Okay,
So
yeah.
living entities in all circumstances are servants of Lord. And when one is in material energy, one thinks that he is his body. So to satisfy his body, he starts satisfying his senses. And then the bondage goes on increasing and increasing. So the first step is to stop the sense input here onwards. Whatever is done is done. Now at least start the practice of Bhakti Yoga. So when Prahlad Maharaj says, no, start now, start from the beginning is now itself. When one doesn't start itself, the beginning is not happening. So the beginning is not that we are starting from the age of 5 or age of early childhood. It is just now. We have to take determination now. We have to take a vow now that here onwards I will not engage into sense gratification. And whatever you feel you are doing to the or you're feeling guilty of it, just stop doing those things. This will be the first step, and then slowly you will realize the levels of sense gratification, and slowly the anarthas will start to being washed. Okay, all right. So I guess time is up. Sarva Bhuta. So which was this verse? 29, no? So tomorrow we'll start from 6.30.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, you can remember 6.30.
Yeah.
Yomam Pachadi Sarvam Chamai Pachadi. Yeah, I know this verse.
Mhm.
Okay, then any doubts, any things to share? You can share.
Ajinkya.
Okay, Pradeep, you want to share anything?
No, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. So we will
Hari
meet
Bol.
tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
If you get time, you can chant also. Now my train will come. Okay, I'll leave the call.